and thank you all for coming out. My name is Abby Fenewald. I'm the events assistant here. And this evening, I'm so pleased to welcome Annabelle Gurwitch to discuss her new book, I See You Made an Effort. She's had a long career as an actress and an author, and her new collection of essays shows the wisdom she has gained as well as her brilliant and sharp humor. The essays span the entire range of issues women face as they get older, from menopause to raising teenagers to generally navigating how they see themselves. Aging is one of perhaps the most universal fears, and it takes a comedian and writer as skilled as Ms. Gurwitch to put a great face on it. Tonight she's joined in conversation by Barbara Ehrenreich, author of many of her own books, including the best-selling Nickel and Dimed and the forthcoming Living with a Wild God, which will be out this coming April. So please join me in welcoming both Annabelle Gurwitch and Barbara Ehrenreich to Politics and Prose.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this? Yes, it is. This is on, right? Thank you.
Okay. I go first.
You go first.
Because
you go. You go, girl.
You are in conversation with me. Okay.
I'm gonna listen.
No,
we're
I'm not.
matchy. We tried. We planned this. Well, look, we're just matchy.
Well, actually, we did exchange Facebook posts about what we were wearing tonight.
We did.
It's true. I first met Annabelle. I'm not going to tell you her whole biography because you didn't even email me.
Boring.
No, you didn't email to me. We met in Washington, D.C. in about 2006 or 7 at some sort of liberal conference or something.
Yes, it was called moving forward thinking.
Right, yes.
It didn't really work, that conference. It was,
Yeah. Anyway, I was so impressed because she was about the most glamorous person I had ever met and actually talked to. And she was terrific. We were, my big theme at that time was what happens to people who are laid off. And it was before the recession, so it wasn't like huge.
It was before everyone in America was fired.
Annabelle had been fired by Woody Allen once.
It's true.
Which is, I do want to ask how you feel about that now when you look back on that experience.
It's a badge of honor.
Okay.
It's a badge of honor to have been rejected by him. What can one say? But I won't interrupt you. But can I just say one thing? I'm going to say one thing about that. So when he was calling me retarded, as we were working together, I started to, that was when I really think about the time that I sort of was becoming a writer from thinking as an actress, because what I was thinking was, this is a great story. This is a good story that will help me to get other people to tell their stories. I really had one of these, flashes. I was a little bit younger, so the brain was working better. And I thought, I could use my story to get other people to tell their stories. And that's what I did with my Fired book and documentary.
Book called Fired,
Yeah.
and the documentary,
Yes.
which we had
We did. We screened Busboys and Poets, another good indie bookstore, and we were in that film. I had Bob Reich and Ben Stein, and I'll just say that. Frightening. And we were really talking about the new paradigm of work in America, and we really hit it off. And and then we were actually approached by the Edwards campaign. Do you remember that?
Oh no.
Yeah, you don't remember.
I think they were
this.
after you.
No, they were after you too. They wanted us to do events. This was all about the Ray L. Hunter time. Anyway, it didn't. We never ended. We were going to go on the road. We did a couple of events together, and I got involved in your organization. Yeah, we did in California.
Oh, I've lost that whole block of my cerebellum or whatever it is. It's gone.
It was probably a good part to lose. You didn't. You've got excess. You can lose it.
So there are other books and films which I am leaving out because you can throw in a few.
IMDb them. It's all out there on the
Anyway,
web,
and then I guess a few months ago you started sending me bits and pieces of I See You Made an Effort.
Yes.
I love that title. And it's a book about turning 50 and aging. So I want to start on a hostile note.
Go for it, lady.
You're too young. I mean, here she is crowding into the literature of aging market.
Oh, you think you
and
got
look
that
at
market
her.
covered? You think only you can do that?
I think I am
If we're
much
gonna have
better
a
qualified.
disease off?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay. I'm going to just say one thing that I've got that's very sexy. I'm going to lay it on you right now. It's osteoarthritis. There's no
Oh,
way
well,
to say
come
that sexy,
on.
can you? Come on.
How
That's
about?
a good one.
Do you know
Yes.
what compression stockings are?
I do. I happen to know what they are.
Yeah, but you
Barbara.
have them.
I don't. No, I'm wearing Spanx, though, which is like they're the cousins. They're the first cousin of compression stockings. I'm one step away from compression stockings.
See, you have to update this book. You know, I'm 72, so I know from compression stockings and a whole lot of other things.
Okay.
I wouldn't even mention.
This is that'll be my next book. I'll get to the compression stockings, but there is a particular age that I wanted to write about, and I just want to say, so, Barbara has been such a big influence on me. Just you get a contact intelligence from just any time you spend with her. It rubs off on you, and what it's done for me is something that I'm interested in is of course not just telling my little story, but I'm always interested in how my story fits in to the greater cultural zeitgeist. So what happened was there were a bunch of sort of moments when I realized that I thought that this was a topic worth mining. And so I'm going to cite 3 of them for you. So the first was, and I'm going to prove my point. We were on the debate team, weren't we, Linda? I'm going to give you my arguments for why I'm still old enough at 52. Let me just say that. 52. I'm older than you thought. What happened was I started this book at 49. I was hoping it would come out by the time I was 50, and that was why the title made sense, From the Edge of 50, but it took me longer than I thought, and From the Edge of 52 just didn't have that ring. So we kept the title. So 3 things that I was noticing. One was I picked up a magazine and I looked at it and it said, "Looking good at 20, 30, 40, and beyond." I'm like, they can't even say 50. They're sending us to the great beyond. I'm already over. I'm, this hello. This invisibility must be, quarantined like lepers. We can't even be spoken of or seen, right? So, it was okay. That was one thing. Then I've been working in the entertainment industry. At this point, at my age, I consider myself to be Hollywood adjacent, because as an actress over the age of 50, I have about in the book this is not a book about Hollywood, but I did include a little chart of where I stand in the Hollywood hierarchy, and I am below deceased former reality star and Starbucks barista in terms of who can we get for this job? So, when I realized that the Nielsen ratings, the barometer of what will make money and be, the bellwether of our industry only goes from 18 to 49. They're just not interested in what anyone's watching that's the cutoff age. That's it. If it doesn't fit into that, it doesn't even exist for them. And then lastly, of course, Barbara, this is something, we've talked about a lot, is underemployment and the long-term unemployed in this country. The majority of the people who are in this category of long-term unemployed are middle-aged people. We are caught in this moment in our country where we are in this in-between phase where here we are, we're living longer, where some of us are living in a little bit better health. I've got that osteoarthritis. I've got the pre-diabetes. I got a couple things, but we're also going to have to be working longer. We are, one of the first generation of people who are going to be retiring later, and so we have to work longer. And yet, there's ageism in the workplace, and there's also the reality of. It is a strange moment where you do want, of course, you want there to be jobs for younger people. You don't want to be taking those jobs away from them, but we also need to stay employed too, because we are woefully underfunded as an age range. So, in the book, there's satire and hopefully humor of all kind, ranging from the very surface levels of the ways that you're affected by aging to, I try to reflect some of the really, deeper economic issues. I have a chapter about the sandwich generation. That's what they're calling us, tail end boomers. Tail end boomer, that sounds like a porn, but it's actually what we are, born in 1961. And we are these people who are economically stretched between having kids at home still, trying to still be economically in the workplace viable, trying to make money, and we're also having parents who are aging and who need our help too. So one of the chapters in the book, I deal with my example of that. I always try to use my failures, mine it for comedy. That's what I'm doing. But so those three things made me feel like this particular moment in this age was ripe to be written about in a way that I hadn't seen, because I just want to say I have a lot of respect for every writer. But when I read Anna Quindlen and I read about her chintz duvet covers and in her city house, and then her pond that she has in her country home. I don't have a second home. I don't have a country home and a city home. I am not going gently into that good night. I'm going with a vengeance. This is not. I hate that phrase. Aging gracefully. I'm aging with a lot of anxiety, some medication. And Spanx, sure, there's some of that too. So I'm trying to just age with a sense of humor. So I was trying to dispel a lot of these, midlife rah-rah, euphemisms.
Great. That they have to be stamped out.
They
Really.
must be stamped out.
and
We
this is
must
this
put
is
an
the
end
big,
to it.
The big, issue in a lot of the literature now about aging, and particularly about women and aging. On the one hand, you have the bright-siders. It's all great. You just get better and better. And,
Right.
and on the other hand, there are the rare people like you who say it sucks. And that's,
Yes, it's well.
I'm not saying, I actually don't mean I am ungrateful to be alive at my age or anything.
No. But we just
I mean-
want to take pull back the pink curtain, and just and talk about this is what I'm writing about, because it is that thing. I feel like we grew up at a time when we ingested these things like these Clairol commercials. It said, "You're not getting older, you're getting better." Mm-hmm. Well, that's just a load of crap. I actually am getting older. I might be getting better, but I'm getting older. And there's I think of these things as both the neurotic and then the biological. I mean, you've got the drumbeat of the youth-oriented media and culture. In the book, and I think I'm going to read a little bit of that tonight just for fun, there's this entire industry that is geared towards roping women of our age in, and selling us this thing they're calling cosmeceuticals. Cosmeceutical is this new term it conflates cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. Now, because it sounds really like, and it's always made by a doctor, as my grandmother would say, like marriage material, a doctor from New York, right? There's all these doctors that have put their names on these products. They are so expensive, and I said, you might as well just apply dollar bills to your face. I mean, because they don't really do anything more than applying money. I don't actually, someone's going to come out and say, like, money actually has something in it that is anti-aging, but it's this bullshit, and it's geared towards us, and they know we have this vanity. I mean, I'm not immune to the siren song of these adjectives and these adverbs. I tried a product that I found in my sister's bathroom tonight. It was called not reflective. It's like resilience in a jar. Resilience in a jar. I'm sorry, I've just embarrassed my sister. But, there's even one, it's so sad. There's one on the market. I've never bought this one. There's one on the market called Hope in a Jar. Isn't that criminal? It's like the last stop before you start sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber. It's so unfair, but they know that you have this vanity, and oh my gosh, I did an interview with a magazine the other day. And you just want to. I just thought I could just laugh as an answer for 5 minutes, but they can't print. She laughed for 5 minutes as an answer. They said to me, "What celebrities do you see who are aging gracefully?" I thought, "What, are you kidding?" I said, "Women should never ever look to women who are in the media as examples of anything, really, but definitely not as examples of aging, because what you're looking at is money. What you're looking at is the economic power that these women have, and I don't begrudge them, because I understand it. They're women who primarily want to remain employable, and when I was doing some research for the book, I mean, the book is a comedy, but I always love to get those to get research in there. And I was looking on the web, and as many sites as you see that criticize the celebrity that's had the work done, are as many sites as you'll see people saying, "Oh, look who looks old." I mean, I have compassion for these women in my business, in the news business, in every business. I have compassion, and I say I'm not immune to wanting to look like the best version of myself, whatever that means. And what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Is that the best version of myself? Was it when I was 20? Definitely not. Was it when I was 30? I don't know. But, so I don't begrudge these women, but there is no way you can look at women in the media. I just said, I said there's no one I could cite, because you don't know what you're looking at. Oh, so they said to me, "Well, Elle Macpherson's turning 50 this year." I said, "She was Elle Macpherson to begin with." What? Well, you can't compare yourself to the body, as I guess she was called. You can't. And who knows what she has a team of people massaging unguents into her skin at every moment, and exercising her, and feeding her how do I pronounce it? Quinoa and lentils, and who knows? So you can't look towards those people. So I make fun of my own adventures at the department store in the book, because you just got a target on you. They see you coming, and they also wear white coats. Isn't that unbelievable? They wear white coats when they're selling you these great adjectives. Though there is one thing, Barbara, is that when you see these products, and they're so well described, they have all these like toning, reparative, restorative. It makes me think that someone with a liberal arts degree is getting a job somewhere. So that's not terrible. That's good. That's good.
I mean, I certainly notice every time I go to either dentist or a dermatologist, and this is not cosmetic reasons, they have a lot of things they want to interest me in, to sell me.
They do.
I mean,
Yes,
a
they do.
dentist, she said, so do you snore? I wouldn't be the first one to notice, would I? And then I said, "No, I don't think so." And she said, "Well, you should be tested at your age for sleep apnea." I said, "No, I don't really think so." And she showed me what they would give me to cure it, which is a mask, a ghoul-like mask that covers your face. It would be, certainly the end of any love life you may have ever had.
That's an
And I
erection
said,
killer.
"You
So
think?"
why not?
I mean, not that I have a love life, but
Right,
I said,
right.
"You think I'm going to wear that to bed?" And she said, "If you don't, you could die. Die in my sleep? I'm not going to complain about that." I mean, but they're always pushing more tests.
Yes. Well, that's another thing I do write about in the book, is this, okay, it's there's so many choices that this is sort of that. I'm just using 50 as as a moment in time to take a look at this. But at this age, that's when the drumbeat really starts for these kinds of things, and the hormone replacement therapy. I just remember a couple years ago, and I write about this in the book. On the very same day, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, front page stories writing about whether hormone replacement therapy is indicated and safe. Both papers cite studies that came to different conclusions. So again, what are you supposed to do? Now there's a lot about mammograms, yes or no. I mean, it is really confounding, and a lot of it is targeted towards women. I mean,
But my answer is don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, I mean, because I notice they're pushing more and more things. I stopped the mammograms. I've had breast cancer, done that, been there, and I just after the last one, which that was positive, it was very bad. I was just a few years ago. I freaked out and went through a whole bunch of more tests, and then they said, well, it's just a false positive because we have better
Oh,
forms of
wow.
mammogram.
Wow.
And I could see, the next thing would be the biopsy and so on. And I have this is my, you don't have to make this decision yet, but I will remind you of it in 20 years.
Making a note.
I think we're coming to the point where there's more and more realization that all of these, quote, preventive care things that they push on older people are, well, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of it is actually going to make you worse. Because you get then down, funneled into a channel which leads to, the biopsy, the this, the that, the other thing. And so this is, I actually think a great thing about getting older is say, nah, actually, I don't want to do those bone density things or anything else. I am old enough to die.
Well, that is something interesting. I just listened to something on NPR about that, about a geneticist who's doing research, slightly off topic here, but doing research on extending life to 150. Does that sound so great? I'm not so sure. I mean, people are going to be really sick of me by 150. I mean, who can stay viable? Who can stay interesting? I mean, that is one of the things I wrote about in the book, was this becoming, invisible to people who are younger than you. And I write about this concert that I took my teenage son to, and at the concert, I take him to see this band, and it's actually a band is Titus Andronicus, which I forgot is the Shakespearean play where the Queen of the Goths eats her sons in a pie. It's really not the best play. I mean, best thing to take your son to. Anyway, so I take him to see this band. I actually really like the music. I start to move down. There's someone shooting a video of the concert. An arm reaches over, stops me, and says, "No, don't go down there. We can't be on camera." I was like, oh my God, we are too old to be seen here. Like it was like we should be quarantined. We age, and I realized at that concert too, the band wasn't making eye contact with any of the parents who had brought their teenagers there. That I felt like I was proving Einstein's theory of parallel universes, and I realized we are not and I really should have realized this 15 years earlier. It was really my crazy ego that kept me from realizing how invisible I was becoming to younger people. And it's funny because in show business they like to have one older person. It's sort of like a cherished, like Betty White. She stands for older people. In England, they've got Judi Dench, and it's all Judi Dench and all Betty White, old person. And I do say this in the book. It's kind of funny because it was kind of a big triumph, right? So there was this Facebook campaign to have Betty White host SNL. I was like, yeah, let's hear it for the old broads. The Facebook campaign to have Carol Burnett host SNL. Not so much. Just one old person. That's enough for America. We just want one.
But there's a good thing about the invisibility, too, that you can sneak around a little easier.
Oh, I hadn't thought about
No,
that.
think about that.
Well, not
I
if you're
mean-
wearing the sleep apnea mask. You're going to stand out in a crowd. There's no mistaking you. I wonder if it works as a gas mask too. Perhaps it's multi-purpose.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. I guess.
Maybe they should have that as a selling point. They should if they had it, like a multi-purpose sleep apnea mask. Might sell better. Maybe actually, I'm sure there's someone with a sexual fetish for it. There's always somebody for that. So don't
don't
kid
wanna meet
yourself,
him.
Barbara. You could find someone who's that's their thing. It might be the thing for you. It might. Maybe.
You're gonna read us something?
Oh, well, say I will. I think I will.
Let me pull
Okay, I'm gonna.
this over
Okay,
here.
I'm gonna read. That's not gonna. Oh, we have to switch. Great. Okay. Okay. I will read. Okay. I'm going to read something from a chapter that's about status and class and how I have middled out and managed to avoid becoming in the top 1%. And trying to make my peace with that on a daily basis. The name of this chapter is The Scent of Petty Theft. The rich are different from you and me. Fitzgerald's line repeats in my head as I pull my dusty Prius into the driveway at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. It has been years since I have been a guest in such an opulent setting, but I am neither intimidated nor overly impressed because I am as comfortable at my corner burrito stand as I am in a 5-star hotel. I have transcended class. I am an artist. This is the narrative I have crafted for myself since I was 19 and flat broke in New York City. I didn't see it then, but it was my youth, a certain amount of beauty, style, really, and the promise of a big career that allowed me to travel between classes. This combination can give you an all-access pass to the enclaves of the wealthy, but there is a time limit. There's a grace period you're allotted when the future is ahead of you, before people in your industry start saying things like, "I'm so impressed with all the ways you stay creative," which translates to, "It's astounding that your body hasn't been found decomposing in a Fleabag motel in the high desert." I am not becoming anything anymore. That's the kind of thudding honesty that occurs at 50, and it's that kind of thing that can lead to petty theft. I've arrived to discuss my duties at a charity event being held at the hotel that evening. There's a certain irony that I've been asked to forego my standard fee at a black tie event where most of the women will be wearing gowns that cost more than I typically earn in a month or 6. But it's a worthy cause, and I readily signed on. We sit down in a cozy alcove, and I sip what is probably the most expensive latte I have ever ordered. How do I know that? The price is written in Arabic. We're discussing the event, but I'm distracted. It's as cold as a meat locker, and glancing around, I can see that I am surrounded by expensively maintained skin, capped teeth, and 2 sure signs of wealth. Women with hair so blonde and so immovable, it can only be described as starched. And although we are nowhere near a body of water, 75% of the gentlemen present wear nautically themed jackets, brass buttons polished to perfection. Monica, the catering manager, who I'm introduced to, is professionally beautiful in a way that every woman working here is today. Tall, in good shape, but not so beautiful that she takes up space in your head. She doesn't even blink an eye when I blurt out, "Isn't this bar supposed to be a good place to meet high-end hookers?" Which of these women are prostitutes, do you think? What? I've never heard that, she says. This is the same venue where Julia Roberts hooked her way into Richard Gere's heart in Pretty Woman. It's an overshare, but I can't take it back, so I add, "Can I have your card? It's so nice to meet you." Blandiful Monica hands me her card. And she notes that if I need anything, to please let her know. Oh, I will, I say, dropping her card into my bag where it will join the bottom of purse lint, cookie crumbs, crushed vitamins, a crumpled notice from my son's PTA, until the day I change purses, maybe 2 years from now. I can't imagine why I'd ever need to call her except to ask for a job application. I want this lunch to last forever. Bouquets of flowers are exploding from vases on both sides of our table, and I am gripped by a sense of dread that this might be the last time I will be invited into a place where even the air smells expensive. It turns out that it's not the flowers that are perfuming the air. Hotels have started pumping fragrances through their air vents to aromatically enforce their brand. The Beverly Wilshire's aroma, Purple Water, has been designed by Asprey, the British line that specializes in both jewelry and polo equipment, to reach into your reptilian brain and mimic the smell of old money. It has notes of leather, cigars, and cooked peas. If odor had corporeal form, Purple Water would be wearing an ascot. It taps a memory deeply buried in my subconscious. Before my family moved to Florida, where I grew up, we lived in a series of small apartments in Wilmington, Delaware. The units had 1970s avocado-colored plasticky kitchens and wall-to-wall carpeting, even in the bathrooms. This was an improvement from camping out at my Aunt Gloria's house, where we'd landed after losing our home in Alabama. The Florida move marked a major step up for us. Our new residence was located on one of the exclusive man-made islands in Biscayne Bay, right off of Miami Beach. A uniformed guard was stationed 24/7 at the gated entrance of the bridge leading to the islands. I gleefully bounded into the house and lay down, pressing my face into the cool, polished hardness of the white tiles in the 800-square-foot living room, where rich, I reveled, even though our cottage-style home was modest compared to the surrounding estates. Everything looked brighter here, from the tropical fruit growing in the yard to our future. It was like we'd been living in black and white and had woken up in Technicolor. I couldn't know it at age 10, but it was to a large extent an illusion. We were floating on a sea of debt. Our wealth was as artificial as the island we resided on. We were also only the second Jewish family to move onto Sunset Islands. The first, a prominent local Jewish family, had to sue the Island Association to gain permission to live there. Upon our arrival, I made fast friends with Shelby, a long-time island resident my age. She and her mother Gigi were long, lanky blondes with sharp bird-like patrician features who wore faded fruit and flower-printed A-line shifts. The whereabouts of Shelby's dad were never spoken of. 30-foot Doric columns framed their colonial-style mansion. There was little furniture, but even I could tell it was important. High-backed winged armchairs, heavy crystal chandeliers, and leather-bound books. I thought it was fun that the only food in the pantry was crackers and hard cheese. That first summer, I enjoyed long, sweaty days at Shelby's. They didn't believe in air conditioning. Polishing her mother's silver and skimming leaves from their kidney-shaped backyard pool. After my mother learned that I was essentially working as their maid, their house was off limits to me, and I rarely saw Shelby again during the remainder of the 8 years in which I lived there. They would drive by in their ancient wood-paneled station wagon, and I would wave to them as they headed off to the surf club, a club whose membership excluded Jews, while I played touch football in the island park with the kids from the island's other Jewish family. Years later, I recognized Shelby's colorful smocks as Lily Pulitzer's. Too bad I hadn't stuffed one of those dresses into my pocket while cleaning their silver. It could be worth something today. The smell of their home stuck with me, though. I couldn't put my finger on it then, but it turns out to have been cooked peas, cigar, and leather. Old money. In this case, really old money. So old, it was barely there. It's a little bit of that story.
what is it? Am I
Yes.
be heard? What is it about the skin of rich people?
Oh, the skin of rich people. Oh my God, that's what I should have called the book.
Yeah, no.
That's
the
like
skin
a
of rich
that
people.
sounds like a mini
I-
series on
no, I've been
Lifetime. The
able
skin of
to-
rich people. Yeah.
I can tell, by looking at, actually, this isn't the most top flight group, but
Okay.
is that they tend to glow.
Well, it's yes. Well,
Like
this
they've
is
been
this is
polished?
something I've written about in the book, which is that at a certain age, you can tell people's economic status by their skin because it's just money. It's just what you can afford, which is one of these reasons that I think that women in particular can start to feel badly about themselves because you see people in the media who have this glow, and it's chemical peels. It's I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing, and how can I get it? I mean I don't want it, all of it. I don't. But it's really unbelievable. I read about the other day about the vampire facelift, where they take someone else's, I think, the blood of small children, maybe. I don't know. They're culling it from, where are they getting this? And then they inject it into your face or your blood, or I'm not sure, someone's blood. They take blood and I guess Kim Kardashian. I said her name. I've had a moratorium on saying her name. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to edit the tape. Maybe they can beep it out. That's what they should have. Like they should have a celebrity. You know how they beep out expletive on network TV? There should be like a celebrity beep out. We've heard enough. I have a swear jar at home. If you say that name of that person who shall now not be named, I have to pay $1. It's just terrible. But this is it's all about money and class, and that's why you don't know what anyone looks like anymore. Which is why people say that thing that 40 is the new 30 and 50 is the new 40, and that's just bullshit. 50 is still 50. Still fucking 50. It's just a new 50, and we don't really know what that is, and we don't know how we're supposed to look or how we feel because we see all the vampire facelift people. Vampire facelift, that's a band. That's got to be a band name, right? It's a good.
And the lizard look.
The lizard look. There's, I say in the book that, too much plastic surgery and you look like a Picasso. It's very seductive, and I am seduced by those things. Nora Ephron wrote about what she called the 2-finger lift, where you look in the mirror and you do this. I do this. I do it. I'm going to admit that.
I admit that when I look in the mirror, I'm editing. Just take that angle out, just ignore that, and it comes out pretty well after I'm photoshopped myself.
Well, sure. And also, if you take your reading glasses, if I don't have my glasses on, I look much better. But I had a reading glass. This is what I call an age-related accident, a shopping accident the other day. So, okay, I did a little shopping therapy. I was looking for a little thing to wear on my book tour, and I saw this necklace, and I thought it was a leaf, and I bought this. Oh, it's a little leaf. $60. So, I can do this. I get home. I put my reading glasses on. It's an angel wing. Oh, my God.
Serves you right.
God. You know what? I wear it all the time now. Because it's like my scarlet A. It's like, oh, punishment. Don't take off. These are actually not even my reading glasses anymore. These have become my everyday, all day, my everything glasses now. So if I don't have those on, I don't notice the chin hairs. This is why the title is Compliments, Indignities, and Survival Stories. That's the hair. There's some indignities that nature just foists upon you. The disappearing waistline. Where did it go? It went from here. It went down there. I mean, things have changed. They have to change. They've changed.
Yeah. Well, you probably want some tips here. I mean, some beauty tips. Some aging
don't
tips,
ask me for those. But do you have any
financial tips?
Oh, those things don't work. None of those. None of it works. It's a zero-sum game. But do we any?
Yeah, we have some time for
questions?
questions. So if people have them, step on up to one of our microphones here. We'd love to hear them. No one's
I
going to be
got to say
first.
on
No
the
one
same line,
questions.
so a few years ago, my granddaughters reached the Disney princess phase. And
Oh, God, that's
I mean, and fortunately, we've moved on. We've moved, we're past the Hunger Games, and now it's all violence and vampirism. And
Oh,
everything.
you know what? I'm gonna give you a hard time on this one. Okay, so first of all, I have to say I was spared the Disney thing. My son, I took him to Disneyland once. He didn't like it. The only thing he liked, he said he liked the escalator on the way back to the car park. I was like, yes, my work is done as a parent. He's Disney immune. He had an immunity to Disney. I thought The Hunger Games was a dystopian, futuristic film about totalitarian society. I mean, I didn't think it was, I mean, not the movies, but I thought the book was actually provocative, Barbara.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting down on it. Now, going to the
Okay,
Hunger Games
okay.
was a huge,
Okay,
huge
all right. So
progress.
talk about the
I'd say
Disney.
we're
the
back in the Disney,
yeah.
Disney days, in the princess days.
Okay.
And if you notice, there are the young, beautiful princesses who are good and innocent and everything, and there are always evil old ladies in the picture.
Right.
And I kind of went with that with the granddaughters. I said,
Oh yes, don't fight it. Go for it. Well, that's funny you said that, because that was one of the things I was thinking about when I was starting to write this book, was about how, see, they don't actually say that always in those Disney stories. The witch is old, but they don't usually say. They usually say she's evil, and sort of. And when you go back to Wizard of Oz, actually, she's just evil. She's not. She's supposed to be the twin sister of the good one, but the evil one has the hands that I now have. She has the gnarly hands. I have recognized my hands, and that actually, I thought, oh my God, I am turning into that witch, and that is it. And then that made me understand those myths more. Why those evil witches are always trying to get Snow White. They're trying to steal their youth back, but you can't get it. It's gone.
I sort of embraced the witch.
Oh
thing,
yes,
you know.
yes. The funny thing is on Facebook today, when you said to me, "What are you wearing?" I said, "Black. I'm in mourning for my youth." I was, of course, quoting from Chekhov. I don't think anyone noticed that, which really scared me. A Chekhovian reference on Chekhov that on Facebook that went unnoticed. People think I wrote that.
Sorry.
But there are people out. Someone should have found that. Someone should have noticed that.
Yeah. So anyway, that was part of the aging thing for me, is going through this with the granddaughters.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting to an older stage. The oldest one is 12, and I recognize my complete irrelevance. I recognize what a stultifying drag I am. Once I was fascinating and glamorous. Now, you just don't want to be seen with me.
Oh, my son is a teenager. He doesn't want to be seen with me. There's all sorts of rules about making eye contact. I waved to him the other day too much, too enthusiastic. You have to just, it is just a limit. You're in this little box. And that is something, though, about the growing invisibility to younger people that you have to make your peace with, or you become Madonna, who is still trying to be seen by younger people, and it just looks desperate. It is not, although here I am saying that, I'm like, she doesn't need my advice. She's doing just fine in her own little world. Now she glows. Whatever she's doing, she must be doing the vampire facelift.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions about the book?
Anyone else want to ask anything? Well, I sort of wanted to ask.
Yes.
So I read your essay about going to the concert with your son.
Yes.
And I similarly had a mother who had me late in her own life. And so there was always the age gap between us. And so I went through a very similar thing as to what you and your son are going through now. And so I'm seeing my mother tomorrow. And I wanted to know what you think I can say to her to make up for my terrible teenage years, if there's anything, or if I should just be really nice.
I love this.
Well, first of all, here's what you don't say to her. My son, I paid him. Okay, I'm not going to just say I convinced him. I paid him to shoot a little book video for me, to turn the camera on, and you would have thought it was like waterboarding. Oh, Mom. And here's what you don't want to say. What he said to me right before he started shooting, and I knew he really meant it because he didn't say it with any meanness in his voice. He said, Mom, you look like Bubby. Which means Grandma. Mom, you look like Grandma. And I thought, oh my God. Now that's what you don't want to say. So you don't, I'm not sure what you should say. What you don't want to say is, it's amazing how much you look like Grandma. You know, so I'm not sure what to say, but just anything you say except that is, I think you're golden.
Great.
And sure, apologies are always welcome, aren't they? I mean, come on.
Yes, signed, notarized apologies. Especially.
Yes. Perhaps donating some blood for the vampire facelift. Mom, have some of my youthful blood and inject it in your whatever. Yes.
All right. Well, unless anyone else has any last questions, we will just wrap it up there. Thanks so much, ladies.
Thank you so much. We will be signing
Yes.
books. Where will we be
So we are
signing
gonna-
books?